Hello and welcome to Discuss on Global Television. I am your host Priscilla Obasi. Today we're diving into a conversation that touches the heart of Nigeria's economic survivor, and that is entrepreneurship. Yes, with unemployment on the rise and traditional jobs shrinking, more Nigerians are turning their passion and skills into businesses that not only put food on their table but also create opportunities for others. Our topic today is on economic resilience, job creation, and economic growth through entrepreneurship in Nigeria. And joining me in the studio is Cynthia Godwin Ade. She is a successful caterer who has turned her passion for food into a thriving business that contributes to job creation and community empowerment. You will get to meet my guest just after this break. Please stay with us. Or wherever it is a microbiologist work, was there such passion for you?
Not really. At some point, I wanted to because that's the normal structure. Like you go to school, get a job, get married, have a family, and that life just goes in that cycle. But I wanted something different. I really didn't want to wait till month's end before getting that salary. I really like cash to be with me, like two for always have steady income. Let my accounts be just receiving that credit alert thing, and I just felt business was the best thing that can give me that desire that I want. And for microbiology, I just switched into business because I felt most times people in our country they don't really value microbiologists. I've seen some of my colleagues, mates that graduated from school, they went for masters and still yet it is difficult for them to get a job in this in our country. So it's not even going for a master's issue, it's just that there's no job opportunity. It's really difficult to get a job. So most of them are just sitting at home, most of them are just hoping and praying and wishing God just come through for them. But I feel it's where I switched into, I'm happy, I feel so happy and I love what I'm doing.
Okay, so for the sake of those that are just tuning in now, I would like for you to take us back through your journey, how you went from studying microbiology, which you have established, to where you are right now.
Okay. Um, so I studied microbiology for 5 years, and it started actually majorly in school, university days, like I said, where I had to produce poems. During my IT period, actually that season I was trying to know which to do. I sold the sheet, I made liquid soap at that time. When I was selling the sheet, I moved from one bank to another bank. From bank to bank, I was letting people know that I had quality bed sheet. I went to different offices in Niger State to let people know that I sell bed sheet because I needed extra source of income aside the one that my parents usually give me. So I moved from bank to bank, and then for the pastry aspect or the baking aspect, I did majorly production of those donuts for just my colleagues that in those there in school. You know, when in IT, on IT, you really have much time to be creative and learn what you want to learn. So I did that, but I desired more. I wanted to go wider, and After my IT, my final year, I enrolled between the period of NYSC and my final year. I enrolled for a beginners bakers class in Kaduna with now some delightful kids, and it was really amazing. She imparted knowledge because I saw a different aspect of baking and pastries that I didn't really know about. And that pointed me. When I go back home, it was time to serve. I went to serve. While I was serving, I also sold egg roll. I sold cupcakes. I served at Masarawa, Latvia. And in those places, major people don't, the quality of my products, they don't really have it there. And people were eager to buy from me because I was doing something different, absolutely different from what they were used to in that vicinity, in that environment. In short, in the school where I was posted, they called me Copper Entrepreneur. So the principal named me Copper Entrepreneur because I usually, there's no way I come to school and I don't come with any of my products. I either come with egg roll or the donut. In short, when they were having programs, imagine me in a strange land. They will contact me for cakes, they will contact me for their donuts, their egg roll. And at that time, I didn't really have much equipment. But others kept coming in, and it was there I was able to purchase my first local oven. Yes, I got my first local oven from when I was serving at Latvia. And it was then they don't know that this thing already with consistency and patience, you can really make money out of it. So that's how the journey started. And when I got married, I was still looking for a job. You know, when you get married and you're just sitting at home, so I was bored. Like my husband would just go to work, come back. I don't have anything to say. All I just do is to listen to him, listen to gist. So I became so bored, and the depression almost set in. Then my teacher, where I enrolled for beginners class, she just reached out to me and said, Cynthia, how are you doing? I said, I'm fine. I heard you are married. She said, Cynthia, are you working? I said, no, I'm not working. She said, why not switch into baking and take it full time the way I took it full time? She was once a principal. She was working in a school, but she resigned and focused on baking, and that's what she was doing full time. So she encouraged me, and that's why I picked it up. And gradually, others started calling from my WhatsApp, where I posted WhatsApp. I got my first client. The client referred more people to me. From there, that's how I've been spreading.
Inspiring and interesting. So for you at school, let's take you back on that journey. When you were at school, what inspired you to, do businesses? Was it a situation of you needing money for school fees, or you saw more than that educational environment? I don't know. Can you just share with us what was your inspiration?
My inspiration really was, okay, in school I was a leader, like in the fellowship, and most times people come to us and they need help, and you cannot just pray them, and there's some challenges that yes, you pray and you require to pray for them, and why some, it is money. They just need money to sort out that thing. And then while in school, there are some times that you just go for lectures, and the next thing they are saying you have to buy one handout, or you need to do one project or the other. And if you are calling home, you already have what it is sorting, but you have to wait till month end before they sort you or put you in the budget. So it's not, so what content no need me to go into just say, I saw egg, I saw, like, I literally was into entrepreneurship. Like, I sold lots of things while in school. I sold Indomie, sold bones, egg roll, and all of that. So that would make me, I also sold Purita. So all those brought money, gave me money daily, like daily. So when that lecturer comes in and he's asking that we should buy one thing, it's not hard because I knew if I make sales in 2 days, 3 days, I'll be able to raise that money. And when someone comes and has a need, maybe financial need, and I look into my purse, I should be able to raise something to give me. By the grace of God, with the business while in school, I was able to reach out to a lot of people. So yeah, that was what really did me. I just wanted to reach out to new people and then
To say
make
that
them feel that.
entrepreneurship is more of a calling, a passion for you. Do you think that every person, every individual out there can possess this thing you possess, or is it a special calling?
Every individual can, if they, whatever you make up your mind to do, you can achieve it actually. So if you make up your mind, every individual can become an entrepreneur.
Affect your studies? Did it affect it in any way? How did you plan? How did you program yourself, through all of these activities?
At some point, it affected my studies because me, I'm not a, like I said, early morning person, and I can stay all night and work, and then in the morning you have it to o'clock lecture. I will just lie on my bed and tell myself, man, I will fulfill this lecture, life will not. So I'm not the early morning type of person. So sometimes I will skip lectures. Or at times my colleagues will be, or my classmates will be in class, and everybody's calling me, yeah, you were about to write test, coming, and I'm sleeping because maybe I handle them order at night and have to deliver it. So you can wake me up while I'll stay awake for someone else's order, but you see that academic aspect, but I've missed them. So it affected my academic to some extent.
Interesting. Well,
But
we can we can safely say, or can we safely say that you clearly defined your passion and you went for your passion
yes, yes.
without
Thanks for my
no
passion.
regrets?
No, I have no regrets. Though let me check this game if I don't get this. So when I told my mom after the vacation, I told my mom that, see, mommy, you see, when I was in school, I used to sell balls and I loved every painting, but I feel this, I need to go and work for nonsense skateboard. My mom looked at me first, like, why did you waste my money? You have told me it's baking school you have to go to now. Then they would have sent you there school after sending you to university for 5 years, 5 years. I couldn't say anything. It's not it's baking you decided to go for. You have just saved my money and that thing really got my money. So when I went, she just told me say Johnny and that was all. When I came back, she was still looking at me like you need this thing. Like you are serious that you want to go full time into entrepreneurship. If you become a baker, what now happened to your certificates? What happened to all the school? I said, mommy, don't worry. Go take care of them. I love what I'm doing. Until a few years back, like 3 years, we put my brand put things together and we surprised her. Like we went to her, she wasn't expecting it. I used to do surprise package for people. So on her birthday, we just went to her office. She didn't see it coming at all. So I know she's always at the office, and then she just had trumpets. They are blowing. Who is the person? She broke into tears and said that never in the history of her organization, like her office, have they ever done such a thing. And that was when she prayed for me, she blessed me, she was smooth, she was proud. The food went round, everybody was like, this is so nice. And she was like, that's her daughter. It's her daughter that made it. So I'm glad in all it still, God still kept us in the business. So it's my passion that just.
Okay, so after school, what are the challenges you encountered pursuing your path, your dreams?
Challenges. I encountered a lot of challenges. That notion your families are supposed to patronize you, they're supposed to buy from you, but they only see that, okay, you are still coming up and this one, okay, take for instance, maybe somebody wants a cake and maybe that cake automatically will spend close to 10,000, then as a then 10,000. Then since they know you, they'll be like, let's just pay you for the ingredients. We just want your hand to be strong. The hand should be strong. No extra money. Or they tell you right the ingredient what you need. Come and do it in my house. So that challenge of having people to really support the brand for me it was a struggle. Then getting equipment, like I told you, I got my first local oven. I got my first local oven while studying. So when I got to my husband's house, when that oven used to remove smoke. So, and he is a very neat person. So I just looked for somewhere in the kitchen and kept the oven. So each time I bake, I have to bake one pan. So in case in a case where the client wants like 3 pans of cake, something to I have to bake one pan per hour. You understand? So if one is out, I'll bring it out, put the next thing inside. So I end up baking for 3 hours. If I had a bigger oven, that would be a challenge, but I had to use what I had. And sometimes, at times, the cake come out burnt. Maybe the heat was too much, so the struggle was, it was tough, but I didn't let it get into me. I still had the bigger vision, yeah, the bigger dream, and I kept on pushing. There were days that I didn't have any clients. I'll just stay and just mix, do video, create content, and just mix and upload like that. And from there, people started trusting me, and others started tripping in. Even while I was still in America, others started tripping in. I sent out cakes to Abuja, to Bika, like I was going to park. The different parks in Canada, they knew me. So conductors in the park tagged me as the baker, the teacher, because I sent things out of Lima at that time. So I have lots of challenges. When I became pregnant, I had to just try my best to manage home, manage the business, and run it. So it wasn't easy, but I still, God helped me through that process. So another time we go that the best, so the bank started handling some things.
So when you say God helped you, what are the practical steps you took, especially in the marriage context? Because I know it's not easy. So what are those things you did that is still keeping you standing? Being an entrepreneur, being a married woman, having how many kids do you have? Two, I guess. Yeah.
So,
2 kids, yes. So you have 2 kids, you have a family. How has it been easy through the years carrying all of this?
it's not really easy, and like one of my friends says, to create a timetable, create a schedule. I'm still trying to learn that aspect, how to create a schedule, but it's not really easy. Like when I got married, initially it was fine until when I took in, I became kind of lazy. All those pregnancy symptoms, I was lazy, and sometimes my husband gets back to work from work and he expects to meet food. He expects to meet food, and he'll be surprised that there's no food. What will be this morning? Then maybe I'll tell me there's one order that came in, I had to attend to them. He said, okay. So you choose to attend to customer that attend to your husband. And I'm like, God. So I went to my prayer, like consecutive prayers, prayer out, and like, God, help me and my husband understand this place that we are in. It's not that I don't really love you, it's not that. Help me just balance the two, business and also family. You cannot put business in front and you neglect your family. So family comes first. So I asked for him a few times. I've seen God help me. Sometimes he comes back and he'll be like, what should I help you with? I can see the workload is so much. Okay, you can just prepare indomie, you can just do this or do that. And then we flew. When I gave birth to our first born, that was a few months after, a few years after, COVID came in and there was lockdown. But when people were experiencing lockdown, me as a home baker, people came from different parts from Lima using their pass to come and buy cake from my side. Like when I stayed, like we are living outskirts of we are living, they will drive all out to come to my house, my location, to pick up cakes for their clients. I also organized an online class, had people enroll for online courses, and it was just a steady flow of money. And after that period, my husband saw how this thing has really generated money. He saw the drive and the passion in it, and he was like, would you like to have a shop? Aside, I can see that majorly transporting a cake from our house to into the town, because we are like we are living in, that's where we are staying. So it's a great challenge, and people really appreciate what you are doing. So if you don't mind, you can get a shop. At least you leave the comfort of the room and you're going to work. When you come back, you know you're facing family. When you go out, you're going to your office, your shop, and you come back and after COVID, that's when we had our first office space. Immediately I saw the office space, me, I told him that day that I said, this place is too small, very soon you outgrow this place. And he was like, you guys are not starting. But I knew what God was telling me. I told him, just give me 2 years, like us will be out of this place and we'll get a bigger space. And we are currently in a much bigger space. But which I'm just still somewhere. What we do for the lesson here is, you start with what you have and get a vision, have a vision, get people who will motivate you. I don't get the social media, I have mentors. They don't even know they are my mentor, but I read their posts, I see what they do, I pick lessons from what they are doing. They are married women with families, it's what I need to do in this my field, and they are doing well. So I ensure I will watch them more. I watch what they do and learn from the little posts they create. I try to do what they do, and I've seen growth in my business right and above. So when I had my second son, it wasn't typical like that, because at that point of my life, we already have staff. We already had like 3 staff at that time. So the staff could do things. In short, at the period where I gave birth, my dad handled a very huge contract without me. As at the hospital, there supplying food, tea break and lunch for an event, for a program, a 3 days program that we held in Niger State without my presence. So we had capable members at that time. And at that point, my husband knew there was no regret to open a shop for his wife. So for me, it was God all the way, and God putting us through the process.
Beautiful story. Let's just go for a quick break now. Please hang on. When we return, Discuss will still be here. Please stay with us, viewers. All right, welcome back. This is Discuss on Global Television. If you are just tuning in, before we join our guest back, let's just have a chit chat, and then I'll have you journey with me on a personal story. Now, let me share a story. I've always been passionate about entrepreneurship. Yes, I have. But then, if you are like me, that came from a family where you are told you need to read your books, you don't need distractions, and all of those kind of sayings, you would understand the story I'm about to share with you right now. So, when I was in the university, I wanted to venture in some business, ideas. I really wanted to carry out some business ideas I had, and time after time, I'll reach out to my parents and tell them, "Oh, what do you think about this?" And I'll hear the whole, "I needed to study." At some point, I wanted to, learn tailoring. I didn't want to try the entrepreneurship path because I always believed that, school is important then, but I didn't have the whole job mentality. I always felt, okay, there's a place of critical thinking, there's a place of problem solving and all of that, and there's a place of skill you get in the in our environment. So I held on to that strongly. When I hear people talk about jobs, when you finish, you get a job. I liked the idea, but then it didn't really click for me. So I decided to try this path. And when I reached out to my parents then, my dad would say things like, "No, I wanted to, study, face your books and all of that." And going through the education system and studying a course that somehow you did not apply for, you understand how the struggle can be and how the frustration sometimes can be. You have to force yourself to like it. You have to talk to yourself. And if you are a serious person with a serious mindset, sometimes you know how to put it together and just keep pushing like that. And then we pushed, and when we're done with school, I felt like, oh, it was time. It was now the right time to go learn stuff. And going for my NYSC, I also reached out to my people, and they're like, "Oh, I need to focus on that thing you're doing now. Focus on your place of primary assignment and all of that and all of that." And then we went through that. Deep down within, honestly, something did not really agree. But the whole African environment, how it can be the traditional environment where you are not supposed to disobey. Yes, so I am sharing this story to encourage someone out there. Yeah, what I'm saying this is, if you have an instinct on your inside, something is telling you to do, go through, follow a path, do something you love to do, follow your instincts, as long as it's in your capacity to do it, and as long as you're not causing any harm to any person, I think it's something to try out. Just like Cynthia's story now, that she said she was in the school environment, learning how to do business, doing catering, taking orders, and she also was plain enough to tell us that at some point it affected her academics, in that she couldn't attend lectures. At some point her classmates would have to call her to come to the class for a test and all of that. But then, now that is where the place of balance comes in. I think for Cynthia's case, if she had for the fact that she was bold about what she wanted to do, if she now considered it as something she is doing, and then strike a balance between that thing and her academics, I think it was a way to balance things. So let me just continue with my story. When I finished NYSC, there was this obedient part of me that didn't want to go against my parents' word. So I stuck to that thing they had told me to do, which was focusing on my place of primary assignment. Guess where I was serving? I was serving in a media house. Yes, like this here. And in that space, I was learning a lot. And I eventually finished. When we finished, it was difficult to get a job. You know how the whole job factor can be. So it's in that space of waiting, I now started the business I really wanted to do. I started to put myself together. I started, I ventured into wig selling. I sold a couple of wigs, yeah. But there was this part of me that was, I was not happy. Why wasn't I happy? It was because I felt like I am doing this thing late. I was so unhappy for a long period of time with my parents, my dad especially. I felt like if they had given me the support I wanted, somehow, I would have been big already in what I was in. And there's this thing about you doing something when you're young. I think it creates a spark for people to receive. If a young child tries a certain thing, and an older person tries that same thing, you know that the way people would receive it from that young child will be different. So this is also me encouraging parents out there. Yes, if you have a child, education is important, but the essence of education is to shape your child's competence, to make them competent in a particular thing. If you go through the four walls of the university and all you know how to do is just write exams, pass exams, without knowing how to apply it to a real life situation, I think you have wasted your time, in my opinion. The century we're in, which is the 21st century, the digital age we're in, it's an age that requires competence. Yes. Sometimes, unfortunately, our educational system is not there. It's not where we want it to be yet. We all agree with that. So that is why you must help yourself. As a parent, you have to guide your children, help them discover themselves. What is that thing that ticks on their inside? Give them the courage to pursue it. Yes, give them the courage to pursue it. You can guide them. You know, there's always, like I said, there is a balance to education and building a skill and all of that, but nothing should die, because there are lots of graduates now that went through the four walls of the university only to come out with a certificate with zero competence. Yes, you have the 2-1, you have the first class, and then you are told to practically, apply what you have learned, and you don't have an idea of how to, because you only learned how to pass exams. Even if you are in that school setting right now, as you write that exams, be curious, ask questions. That is why you are paying your school fees. Ask questions. Know why you were studying what you were studying. Yes. And if you're not comfortable with it, pick a skill, pick a hobby. Sometimes it helps you even thrive in that environment, that you are in, that you're not enjoying per se. So doing what you like to do, merging it with what they have told you to do, it encourages you to push through, right? Yes. Get a passion and push through, and ultimately balance it. For someone like me, I eventually, ventured into business, but I feel like at that point when I ventured into it, I wasn't, at that space to learn all I needed to learn about it. And there was no time for me to start learning it again. And then a job came along the line and, I grabbed it. But then, in all of it, I'm happy that I was able to explore, and I'm still learning. I am still learning on the whole, business path. I am still learning. They say learning never ends, right? So it's never too late to do that thing that your heart takes for. Let us join Cynthia back after this break. Please stay with us. All right, welcome back. This is still Discuss on Global Television, and we're still live with our guest, Cynthia Godwin Adekunte. Yeah, she is an entrepreneur, a business mogul, I like to call her, and she's still with here. Cynthia, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
I'm
so
with you.
thank you for staying with us till this time. Let's leave with these words. And in your view, what unique role does entrepreneurship play in reducing unemployment in Nigeria?
It plays a very, very vital role in reducing employment because it has helped lots of graduates to get their hands busy.
Nigerians want to start businesses. They want to go into all of this, but they have this fear of failure. What's your advice to them?
I would advise them in life, actually challenges come, but you just have to keep going. Just start. Start. You might feel like, for my case, like, well,
Challenges when it comes to baking you face as a baker? I mean, it's operational challenges.
like, you all know in this country, this issue of lights. Light has been what is even at the last month.
What do you think the government and private sectors can do better to support small business owners and big business owners like you?
I'll suggest these three main points that they can do better. They should assess support and sustainability. They should make it easier to start and grow by simplifying registration, CAC registration and tax. If we talk of tax, the kind of tax we pay, and I'm hearing by next year again, tax will be increased. So registration, make it simply, then by granting
Final words do you have for them?
my final words for them is
Yes, we're here with you.
Okay. The Bible says anyone that wants to build should sit down and count the costs. So it's not going to be easy, but turn your passion into a profitable business and be consistent in what you are doing and watch people come to you to pay you for your services.
Believe in
It has
yourself.
worked for
Thank you for coming on the show today with us.
Thank you for having me.
On Discourse. It has been an eye-opening conversation with you. We're so glad, that you took your time to come spend with us. Entrepreneurs may not solve all the problems in Nigeria, but as we've heard today, it is creating jobs, empowering people, and driving resilience in tough times, and that is what it is about. A big thank you to Cynthia for coming to stay with us today. Until I come your way next time, this has been Discuss on Global Television, and I still remain your host, Priscilla Obasi. Thank you very much for watching, and have an amazing day.
you.